Everything around you is constantly changing. Pictures come and go in a matter of seconds. You don't want to miss a shot because you didn't have your camera set the way you wanted it to. Understanding the way your camera works is an essential skill for street photography, and I'd say for photography in general. The better you know your camera, the more confident you'll be in shooting. You won't have the thought running in the back of your mind of, is this shot gonna come out the way I wanted it to? So getting to that peace of mind is a critical step in your photography journey. Camera is a tool at the end of the day, so you want it to work as best as possible for your style of shooting. This is how I've set up my X100F for street photography. These settings are what works for me, so that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you, but I think there's a lot to be gained from watching how other people have set up their cameras. So grab your camera, maybe you got a new X100 series camera. You don't necessarily need an X100 camera, I'd say, for this video. I think some of the concepts are going to carry over to other cameras because cameras these days have custom buttons. Speaking of custom button settings, let's start there. So let's start with the top function button. I have this set to my photometry, and this allows me to quickly change my metering mode from spot to multi. These are the two metering modes I use. I'll switch to spot when I want to specifically meter for my highlights or my shadows. If I want deep, harsh black shadows in my photos, I'll stay in spot metering so I can aim my camera in the direction of the highlights to expose for those and get my settings all set so I have a nice exposure. So next, for the rear dial button, I have this set to my focus check. This lets me quickly check focus. I use this a lot, especially if I'm in no rush and I can kind of take my time to compose a shot. Having this set to the rear dial makes it pretty handy to, quickly check my focus and not have to worry about an out of focus image. While we're on that topic, I also shoot in AF plus M, so basically it's autofocus and manual. So I can back button focus and then also make minor adjustments using the focus wheel. Speaking of back button focusing, that's what I have my AE-AFL button set to. So in the function button settings, I have this set to AE-AF lock. And this lets me basically focus and recompose my shot if I want to without having my focus change. This is especially handy if I'm following along with the fishing technique. Also, I have my shutter speed set to T. This makes my shutter controllable from the rear dial. So for the D-pad, I used to have it set to film simulations for the right. Bottom was ISO settings, and the left was my ND filter. But now I have it as nothing because I find that when I rest my hand on this camera, I'm always digging into where this D-pad is, and it's kind of a design flaw with this camera, and I'm happy that the X100V just got rid of it. It's nice to not have my camera accidentally go into a different drive mode. So I've kind of tried to limit that with setting these to nothing. So everything I had here, I have in my Q settings. So I have ND filter, film simulation, flash, and dynamic range. I have my LCD brightness and my manual focus assist if I want to have that set. Don't have a lot here too, because I find when I have everything filled, it's kind of hard to find the setting I want to get to. So just trying to clean up this interface really helps me find what I'm looking for. So the front function button, I have this set to my autofocus mode. I'm usually sitting at single point AF, but if I want to track a moving subject, I'll switch to zone. And then I'll switch to continuous at the same time. That way my subject is going to be tracked in a zone focus area. Then for my typical shooting style, I'll go back to single and single AF. So for film simulations, I like classic chrome a lot, but I don't shoot JPEGs, I shoot RAW because I know that I'm always going to edit these photos. But I like just the look of classic chrome, and I always typically put that on in Lightroom using their profiles. So let's look at my shadow and highlight tone. I have my highlight tone set to -2, shadow to -2, sharpness to -4, and noise reduction to -4. I find the LCD screen in EVF makes my image look very contrasty, and I like having this setting set so I can see a more cleaner image, and it kind of reflects an image that is similar to my editing style. Those settings aren't going to impact your image if you're shooting in RAW, but they will if you shoot JPEG. Like I said, I don't shoot JPEG, but having those settings set, they still change what I'm seeing on the screen. So Fujifilm cameras have ISO settings, and let's find those. I have 3 settings here. So my first one is for daylight, bright sunny days. The second one is for sunset / blue hour. And then the third is for night. All right, I think that about wraps it up. This has been a pretty technical video, and I think it should be said that these aren't going to make you take better photos. It's just gonna make you prepared to take better photos. So I think if you're prepared and set and you know your camera and how it works, you can put all your attention to how am I gonna make a visually compelling image through composition, subject matter, storytelling. I'll see you guys in the next one in another POV. Oh, and also,